This is RadioOnFire.com giving you more talk, more news, and more music. I go by the name of Diamond K. Thank you for joining me. Now, as I said, RadioOnFire.com giving you more talk, more news, and more music. Now, security for the NWA movie Straight Outta Compton has been increased. But before we even go there, the urban world has been talking about this movie, Straight Outta Compton. It has touched a cultural nerve. And actually, that's an understatement. To say that it's touched a nerve is an understatement. Opening weekend for Straight Outta Compton is looking like it's going to be a little bit higher than $59 million. How massive is Straight Outta Compton? Let's start with Friday. Friday's numbers, 24 million and some change. That is the fourth highest opening day for an August release. Now, this beats the first days of Rush Hour 2, which was about 23 million. G.I. Joe, about 22 million. Signs, which is about 20 million. And Rise of Planet of the Apes, about 19 million. Now, what is the reason that they beefed up security? Let's talk a little bit about that. Most people are saying that Black people, Latino people do not shoot up movie theaters, so they don't understand why they beefed up the security there. One of NWA's biggest songs was Fuck the Police. Moviegoers are not going to be more violent than they were before the movie after watching Straight Outta Compton. Many folks pointed out on social media that we're not going to be the ones fighting in the theater. While we do fight in theaters, everybody fights in theaters, but I don't think that anybody's going to want to fight after watching Straight Outta Compton. Now, if you wanted to fight anybody, it might be the police. So in my mind, putting more security in the movie theater could be about protecting the moviegoers from harm. Now, let me explain that a different way. Think about it like this. If you were a minority hating group like the Ku Klux Klan, a neo-Nazi, somebody like that, and you wanted to harm Black people, a movie showing of Straight Outta Compton might be where you would go. Anyway, that's my thought. Putting the extra security in the theater is not going to hurt your enjoyment of the movie, which, interestingly enough, is for NWA was a popular group in the 80s and the 90s, and then the members went on to have their solo careers during the 90s. This is not for the current generation that are out there turning up. Now, a lot of the younger ones, teenagers now and early 20-somethings, are going to watch the movie and have become involved in the NWA fury that's going on right now. But the main core for the Straight Outta Compton biopic, which showcases characters of Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, MC Ren, and DJ Yella, among other people, is geared towards, I would say, the 30-somethings, late 30s, early 40s, early 30s, people in this age group. But because people like Ice Cube have transcended that generation and open themselves up to a new generation of people, you have younger people that watched Are We There Yet and may have some Beats by Dre headphones, maybe into this movie as well. The straight out of wherever, straight out of somewhere movement, the app, which is available now, that has been going crazy throughout social media. A lot of t-shirts. I'm seeing a lot of NWA themed t-shirts right now just throughout the social media world. So definitely big movement going right there. And I, for one, am very happy that NWA is getting their just due. This is a group that I followed over the years. I was first introduced to NWA by a cousin of mine, Deja, who is from California, the LA area. And he brought a tape back, cassette tape in '88, which included NWA and the Posse for those people, and Too Short Both of these acts, West Coast acts, big influence on hip hop. Of course, there are going to be some other hip hop movies, and there have been others like Notorious, one movie there. And I think that there are going to be others. A Tupac movie has definitely been in talks for some time. Hopefully, it will see the light of day sometime soon. Now, in addition to this NWA movie, Master P, the homie from down south and West Coast, is putting out a movie about himself and his rise, King of the South, the Ice Cream Man. His story is supposed to hit theaters in spring 2016. Word on the street is that Luke of 2 Live Crew fame is also working on a movie, a Master P movie and a Luke movie. I definitely signed up to see both of those movies. But this NWA movie, let me know your thoughts on this movie. Is it worth the hype? Did they tell you something that you did not know already? When you think about the NWA movie, you have to consider, you don't have to, but I think about the fact that Suge Knight is in jail right now, where he killed someone, or if he did what they say he did, then I understand. But Suge Knight is in jail right now because he went to the set of this very movie that opened up yesterday as we're recording this. And while he is portrayed in the movie, he is shown in the movie, his character was definitely instrumental in Dr. Dre leaving Ruthless Records. It's unfortunate that he even got to that situation. The movie told the story the way it was. I don't understand why he went to the set. However you're portrayed is how you're portrayed. That doesn't mean that that's how you portrayed it. That's just how the directors wanted to show it. F. Gary Gray, the director, long time, companion and producer, director that Ice Cube has worked with. He directed Boys in the Hood, amongst many other movies. I think that why this movie, the Straight Outta Compton biopic, is getting so much positive views is because the story is being told the way you feel it should be told as a fan of the group, with Ice Cube, DJ Yella, Dr. Dre, and others so closely involved in the movie. The tone of the movie is going to be told very close to the way it was. I'm sure that some things are not touched on, like D Barnes, the violence with D Barnes, Dr. Dre, Michelle A. I'm sure that things like that are not touched on, and that's okay. We know those stories, and this is more so about the NWA group and not so much to those things. And as I said, with the success of this, there's going to be an influx of rap, hip hop movies. I've always wanted to see, and maybe I'm the only one, but I've always wanted to see a New Edition movie. I think a New Edition movie would be interesting and well received. Maybe a Jodeci movie. Would you want to see a Mary J. Blige movie? No? Okay, I'm picking some random acts from the 90s. A Death Row Records movie. Do people want to see that? Let me know your thoughts. What is the next hip hop movie you want to see? Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Diamond K Show. As always, radioonfire.com. Giving you more talk, more news, and more music. I want to talk a little bit, switch gears for a moment. The murder rate here in Baltimore, as of this recording, over 205 people in the year 2015. Earlier this month, when we were at the 200 homicide for 2015, it's really saddening. There were 211 murders in total in 2014. And now, only halfway through the year, we are getting ready to surpass that. The killings began to spike dramatically in May. with 42 murders in a single month. There was a brief dip in June with 29, then another rise in July when the city saw 45 homicides, making the month Baltimore's bloodiest month since 1972. That was before I was even born. Now, the uptick comes after the riots in the spring over the death of Freddie Gray. We all talked about that young black male that was critically injured and, in police custody. Now, this rise in the Baltimore's murder rate has prompted the interim police commissioner, Kevin Davis, to form a task force with 10 federal agents, involved, and hopefully that will stop this. So what has caused the murder increase? What has caused it? I don't think we can answer that with one question, with one answer. I don't think that there's one answer to that question. Let me say that. And the former police commissioner seemed to think that it was a turf war and there were drugs being sold or prescription drugs being sold in, conflicting areas. And that's what caused the spike. I don't think that he was on the money with that. I'm sure that may have happened. In the summertime here in Baltimore, things tend to get a little bit more amped up during the summer months. Sometimes people coming home and it mixes, and the heat, and it's just more people outside, and it just gets crazy. The conditions of the young people and the older people who are involved in the homicides has to play a factor. The street life mentality definitely plays a factor in it. But I can't say that there's one thing. If people had the rec centers open in that community, would that prevent the murder increase that we're seeing? I don't know if that alone would do it. I think that the mindset of our current young people is different than it was 20 years ago. Now, the murder rate was high 20 years ago, but as each generation comes and it gets a little bit more deeper, we see these types of increases in murder and the such. But I definitely want to make an appeal to the people of Baltimore. Hopefully we can get this together. There's got to be another way for us to settle our disputes other than shooting. Now, the other thing that comes into play is when you lose a loved one to violence and you suspect who did it, or you think friends of who did it, or the area where the people responsible might be from. A lot of times people feel the obligation to retaliate. And I think that sometimes that plays a factor in the increase in the murders. The retaliation standpoint of the loved ones and the friends of someone that was deceased. And then that cycle continues and it continues and it continues. And nobody wants to, because of their pain, nobody wants to be the one to stop it, because it's always going and somebody's lost someone that they love. And we just got to try to find an answer, because this can be an ongoing cycle that increases and increases and increases and increases. So Baltimore is not the only city like this. Chicago, every major city in this great country is facing this, especially in the inner city. Baltimore is right now at the forefront. A lot of turmoil and unrest going on in Ferguson right now. And I'm definitely praying for my city, but not only the city of Baltimore. I'm praying for this great nation. So let me get off the soapbox for a minute. Let me know your thoughts. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Diamond K Show. And as always, radioonfire.com, giving you more talk, more news, and more music. If you have something to promote, send an email to yourradioonfire@gmail.com to get a promo campaign started for you today. Now, advertising starts as low as $50. A lot of different packages available. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for listening. I'll see you guys next time.